Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. With us now is the founder and director of the Media Research Center, the largest media watchdog organization in America, Mr. Brent Bozell. He joins us now from Reston, Virginia. And Brent, it's good to have you back.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
Well, more than 186 conservative and Tea Party leaders have joined you and Rush Limbaugh to demand the media stop censoring the IRS scandal. Can you share with us your concerns, and is it true that the mainstream media actually covered the royal baby more than the IRS scandal?
Well, let's put it in perspective. In 3 hours' time, the national network spent more time talking about the baby born in Great Britain than the totality of the coverage on the IRS scandal since it broke. It's a startling reflection on the decision by the national press that they're simply not going to report this. Never mind investigate it. We're not talking about investigating. We're talking about reporting other people's investigations. In our world, as conservatives, we think that the rest of the world understands what it is we're seeing, because it's so flagrant, the abuse of power. And yet, we have to understand that the average Joe out there who still relies on CBS or NBC or ABC or CNN for his news is not getting this story. It is being censored.
Brent, you recently authored the book Collusion, in which you exposed how the mainstream media colluded with the Obama campaign to get the president reelected in 2012. Would you say that there's some collusion going on here again? And if so, why?
I also said in the book that while the Obama campaign never stopped on election day, neither have the media in this collusion. Look, they are fully vested in the success of this administration. I mean, think about this, Kathleen. When the President of the United States declares over and over that these are phony scandals that we're talking about, which says in effect that the death of a border security agent, the murder, was a phony scandal, that says that the deaths of 4 men in Benghazi was a phony scandal, that says that the abuse by the IRS, the single most feared arm of government today, is a phony scandal. That is by itself an outrageous statement to make. But what is far more outrageous is the fact that the national news media let him make it. No one's called him out.
Now, speaking of collusion, embattled IRS official Lois Lerner and an attorney for the Federal Elections Commission appear to have colluded against at least one conservative group applying for tax-exempt status. This, according to the National Review Online today. Brent, what do you make of this new development?
Well, it's just another bombshell. We've been seeing bombshells falling. Bombs have been falling on this thing for weeks. Again, if you watch CBS or NBC, you'd never know what happened. I can guarantee you this won't be covered. Guarantee you this won't be covered. Look, what did we learn yesterday? Dan Issa declared in his hearings that this wasn't just conservative organizations who had applied for their tax-exempt status. These are conservative organizations who had received their tax-exempt status, and they're still coming after them. Leadership Institute being one of them. What coverage did that get yesterday? Not one word. Think about this. All along, the question has been, when was it said and who said it? How far up the chain does this go? What did we learn a week ago? A week ago, we learned that this has gone all the way now to the Obama administration. An Obama administration political appointee at the IRS was getting personal reports on this scandal that was taking place. He was involved in this. You think that'd be a story? That is yet to be covered.
And Brent, getting back to your call to action, what, if any, response have you received from the networks?
Yeah, it's amazing. Silence. I mean, you can hear crickets. You can hear crickets. They are so committed to censorship. This is making a mockery of the word news. NBC ought to be surrendering the word news. It should call himself NBC censorship, NBC dead air. Same thing for CBS, same thing for ABC. They are in the business of not reporting news to the American people. This has to be an issue. It has to be a national issue. The Republican Party should speak out, conservatives should speak out, and anyone in the news-producing business should distance himself from what they're doing.
And Brent, while we have you, I'd like to get your take on some other stories making headlines. I know that you're working with Rush Limbaugh on this call to action. How do you view the recent news that he and Sean Hannity are jumping Cumulus for WOR?
There's a lot of information, stuff to hear that I can't talk about. But I will tell you this. They are hugely successful. They are, the most successful business franchises in that business today. It tells you something about the hostility towards conservatives by some on the left, that they would actually cause them trouble. If I were Cumulus, I'd be going to Rush Limbaugh with a blank check and asking him to fill it out for whatever he wanted. That's what I do.
All right, and what about immigration reform? When Speaker Boehner announced that the House wouldn't vote on the Senate immigration bill without majority support, there was this sense in the media that the House and Republicans are obstructionist and that the outlook for real reform this year was bleak as a result. How do you see the mainstream media's coverage of this issue impacting not only immigration reform, but also 2014 and 2016?
This you can set your watch by this, Kathleen. Every time there's a Republican in the presidency and it's a split Congress, the Democrats are a party of principle. If it's a Democrat in the White House and a split Congress, the Republicans are obstructionists. When the Republicans break from their principles and cave in, then it becomes the straight talk express. Then it becomes great pragmatic for the further good. Then it becomes bravery and courage and all these wonderful things if Republicans surrender. This has been the narrative that goes back 30 years. Remember, if it's a Republican in office and a split Congress, then the Democrats are doing a noble thing by not going along. If it's a Democrat in the White House and a split Congress, the Republicans are obstructionists.
And Brent,
Set your watch by that.
What about the president's remarks of the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case? What grade do you give the media here for its coverage?
I think the media, again, have been reprehensible in their coverage of this. Look, the president's response on this, if he were the leader of a nation, would be the jury has spoken. The jury of our peers has spoken. We have to respect that verdict. The President of the United States would also say to the American people, we must be crystal clear about something. This had nothing to do about race. The President should have said, the FBI investigated this for months and couldn't come up with any evidence of a racial problem. The President should have said, race was never introduced into this trial because it wasn't there. That's what the President should have said. Instead, he played the race card, which is real demagoguery. I'm very, very stunned that he did that.
Last question for you. Of all of the major networks, what do you feel, or which do you feel has the best coverage and which has the worst?
There's only one network that's had good coverage, and it's Fox News. This is the only network that seems to be interested in the news media, in the news business anymore. For the rest of them, I'll give CNN a D-. Everyone gets a flat F.
And Brent, what kind of grade would you give us here at Newsmax?
Newsmax, it's the future. The future of information in America is going to be found ultimately on the internet. And it's the pioneers of that information age which should get the credit. And I'd put at the very top Newsmax.
All right, so we get an A then. We'll take it.
A+.
Media Research Center founder and president, Mr. Brent Bozell, thanks for being with us. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.